With everything else that Nick Saban has dominated in his tenure at Alabama, we can include the NFL draft, and such will be the case again here in 2022. Although the haul isn't going to be quite historic as it's been in a number of years in the past decade, but we got Stephen M. Smith on the line from Touchdown Alabama. Of course, join him on his show Monday, Wednesday, Friday, right here on YouTube. In my own words, at 6 Central. Stephen, what's going on today?
Doing good, Mark. We got the draft here on Thursday, starting off Thursday, night one in Las Vegas. And as you mentioned, Coach Saban tends to always put a good number of players in the draft since 2009. We're looking at, 100 plus guys, 106 to be exact. And of that number, 39 have been first round picks. Looking to add two more to that conversation with Evan Neal and Jamison Williams.
I'm going to have to run the numbers on that because I've seen those two numbers as well under Saban, which goes back to the 08 draft. I know Ohio State's close, and there would be the one that would be in contention, but I think Alabama's in the top spot in both regards. Stephen, before we get to the important stuff, maybe the more important stuff for some of the folks that aren't locked in on the football, but tune into the draft to see the fashion display. And Nick Saban's actually going to take part in that. You wouldn't think of the coach being first and foremost, but it is kind of a fashion statement that he makes at the spring game every year. And I mentioned to you before we started to record, I always enjoy the pink suit on A-Day game, but you've got a few theories on which direction the coach may go.
Now, he's got a nice variety. He's pretty versatile in his suit game, the 70-year-old Coach Saban. So if he doesn't go with the pink A-Day suit, it could be the electric blue suit from the Aflac commercials. He's got like a brown suit in there that's really nice. I know Miss Terry has a black suit out there for him. So he's got a pretty nice collection there that he can choose from. It will depend on which one will make the final cut, but Coach Saban likes to be out there in style. But what will be interesting is which one of his now former players entering this draft will have the best of fashion, because Evan Neal is fashionable. Jamison Williams can be flashy also. So you got some players that have some style and some flair also. Now, quite recently, the biggest one to make the splash was Devontae Smith with his suit game at last year's draft. So it'll be fun to look at which one of the players may try to upstage Nick Saban shine with the suit of their own.
Well, I would be the last person to wager a guess on what styles or colors Evan Neal's going to select. I just know that there's going to be a lot of material involved because he is one mountain of a man, and he appears to be the guy when it comes to the first one off the board for the Tide.
He will go in that top 5 range there, Mark. I don't see him going past pick number 5, and that's where the New York Giants are, especially with New York wanting to believe that Daniel Jones is the guy for them at quarterback when he came out of Duke a few years back. And he has shown some traits, but the Giants have also struggled keeping him protected, keeping him from not getting sacked several times. So if you get an Evan Neal, somebody who can be a cornerstone piece to your offensive line, whether at right tackle or left tackle. So the Giants, the Jaguars could get in with the number 1 overall pick. Now, the Jaguars recently franchise tagged Cam Robinson, another former Alabama offensive lineman. Robinson would play at left tackle. If you would draft Evan Neal, you could put him on the right side and really give Trevor Lawrence that do-over freshman year that he would really like to have back after last year and not go the way that Lawrence planned it to go. So there's a lot of different ways you could go here with Evan, but I think substantially, I think the Giants at pick 5 are going to make that move just due to the Jaguars could go pass rusher here with Aiden Hutchinson, young man out of Michigan.
Every time a player goes down late in their career that has a obvious future at the next level, of course, it's an impact on the game and the sport. And I certainly have a number of Alabama fans that call me on a regular basis that believe Jamison Williams going down brought down Alabama's hopes of winning the national championship game. And I'm sure you have that conversation on a regular basis as well. But we also think about that person's livelihood at the next level and not wanting to compromise that in any way. So it's good to hear you talk about Jamison Williams in regards to the NFL teams not necessarily being hesitant concerning his injury and still valuing what he may be able to bring to the table.
He is actually really ahead of schedule, Mark. I remember his agent put out a video of him doing a lot of agility work, footwork, cutting work, strength things. Like JMO is ahead of schedule, and it looks like whoever takes him, he'll be good to go by training camp. He'll be good to go and take part in action right there and is expected to be, a big star. His speed will not be removed from him. That's also a really strong sign there. He is still being regarded by executives, by scouts, by coaches, by owners, by organizations as a top 15 pick. And when you look at that, the Philadelphia Eagles have the 15th overall pick, and Howie Roseman and Jeff Lurie have fallen in love with Jamison Williams. Of course, Devontae Smith is there. Jalen Hurts is there as well. So there could be a move there. You look at if the Eagles don't take the spot there at 15, the New England Patriots are there at 21. And when Bill Belichick took his hand off the draft last year, it was the best Patriots draft in 7 years. And could it happen again where you could set up a Mac Jones with a Jamison Williams? That'll be really nice there. Also, you have the Green Bay Packers and the Kansas City Chiefs, both with multiple first-round picks. Green Bay, Devontae Adams no longer there. Marquez Valdez-Scantling is now with the Chiefs now. So Aaron Rodgers looking for a number one receiver. Now, at times, he's been prickly working with young rookie guys, but if you're Matt LaFleur, you kind of do what you kind of need to do here in taking this option. And of course, with Tyreek Hill, the most explosive receiver in the league, going from Kansas City to Miami, Patrick Mahomes would not mind replacing one speedster with another speedster if he's able to get his hands there on Jamison Williams. So there are going to be quite a few teams in line here to get the electric athlete coming from the Crimson Tide, spending 1 year in Tuscaloosa. But better news is hearing that J-Mo way ahead of schedule in his recovery.
Folks, we got Stephen M. Smith here from Touchdown Alabama breaking down the Tide as he always does. We always appreciate Stephen stopping by on a regular basis to talk Bama and the SEC. And catch a show Monday, Wednesday, and Friday right here on YouTube. In my own words, 6 Central. Give him a call. Talk Tide. Would John Mechie most likely be the next guy off the board?
He would be he would be to start the second round. And to me, I look at the New Orleans Saints here because Mechie, he's not a 1, but he's a very good complement. He's a really good 2. And people fail to realize when John Mechie came from Canada to play, football here in the U.S., especially at the University of Alabama, he had a huge learning curve, but he was able to master that curve. And this past season, his best year, 96 catches, led the team, third all-time single-season history for catches for John Mechie. 1,142 yards receiving, 8 touchdowns. He does so many things well. He's a compact receiver. He's a very proficient route runner, works back to the ball, really strong hands. No, he doesn't have the blazing speed. No, he doesn't just get off of that press coverage separation with lightning quickness, but he's just a pure competitor, a pure professional, an effective, efficient route runner, and a guy that just makes plays. And if you have a team that has an established one already, which the New Orleans Saints have one in Michael Thomas, you put a John Mechie with that could really be nice there in New Orleans. And then if not New Orleans, keep your eyes on the Indianapolis Colts. Because as much as I watch Mechie's game, it screams Indy to me. You have Matt Ryan already over there. You've got Michael Pittman Jr. from USC, who's established himself as a very strong 1. You put Mechie over there with what Chris Ballard is building or has built in Indy. That could be something nice also. And then Mechie has even talked about if I could reconnect with Mac Jones, that'd be cool. If I could reconnect with Tua in Miami, that'll be cool also. So Mechie would be first off the board in that second round. And I would look at the first two teams, the Saints at 49. Well, that's an option. The Colts are in there. And if he wants to reconnect with two of his former quarterbacks from Alabama, then you would have the Patriots and the Dolphins.
Then, Stephen, it appears as though we go from offense to defense. You got Christian Harris, you got Jalen Armour-Davis, possibly Phidarian Mathis. They seem to be the next guys in line.
They do, and I think the first defensive guy, it'll kind of be a flip between Phidarian Mathis and Christian Harris. I will pull Christian Harris slightly first, just due to we're in an NFL now where you want your linebackers to play tremendously well in coverage, and Christian Harris has that defensive backs background coming from high school in Baton Rouge, Louisiana, though he had to learn how to play linebacker for the Crimson Tide. Did a strong job of that as he grew at that spot. So I would take Christian Harris first as the first defensive guy in that second round, and then behind him, Phidarian Mathis. Now, it'll be interesting to see which team takes Christian, because there's a lot of teams lining up here. Pittsburgh will be a very interesting spot for him. I would not mind seeing him in Pittsburgh. I would not mind seeing Christian Harris in Atlanta. The Falcons are always in need for some defensive help somewhere across the board there. The Kansas City Chiefs would be interesting for Christian because they could use some pass coverage linebackers. So, Christian, he's got a few suitors there. Also, the New England Patriots with Donta Hightower still a free agent. Nobody's picked him up yet. So if you were to put Christian in New England, that would be intriguing also. So Christian Harris has some potential suitors there. Where Phidarian Mathis comes in, the Baltimore Ravens. That right there, where they need a presence in that defensive front and that defensive line. And Phil Mathis, who had 9 sacks a season ago, would really be a strong defensive presence there for them. So those two will be your defensive guys in that second round. And then to flip back to offense, I think the last offensive guy that could come off that board in the second round, I look at Brian Robinson Jr., and I would look squarely at pick 61, where the San Francisco 49ers are. They lost Raheem Mostert to the Miami Dolphins, and Kyle Shanahan's offense is predicated on a lot of heavy run, especially when you're trying to break in a young quarterback in Trey Lance. I could see B-Rob 61 to end that second round to San Fran.
Yeah, the running back position has obviously been altered quite a bit in the NFL, both in regards to the way they're utilized and also the way they're perceived in regards to value. And if you're not a Zeke Elliott or Derrick Henry, then there's some question as to whether they're interchangeable, but I don't think that's the case. And Brian Robinson should fill in nicely for anybody who wants a back that's certainly going to bring the lunch pail with him. Josh Jobs on the board is possibly one of the next guys in line. Who else do we need to address?
I think Josh Jobe, Jalen Armour-Davis, both of those two will kick off the third round. And then maybe even a Christopher Allen could slide in there. The highly productive outside linebacker. I know he did not play much last season. Got hurt after in the Miami game to start the 2021 campaign. But 2020, he did have 13 tackles for loss in Alabama's national championship season in 2020. He also had 6 sacks there. So you could have Jalen Armour-Davis, who was the most consistent corner for Alabama a season ago, in that third round. Josh Jobe has all the physical tools, suffered a foot injury last year, so didn't have the season he wanted to have. He can be slotted right there in that third round. And then Christopher Allen, I could see late third, if not late third, early fourth, because he does bring a lot of value here with his size, with his ability, and then also with his potential of what he can be. A lot of these guys in this draft, Mark, will be better pro players than college players when you discuss a Christian Harris, when you discuss a Chris Allen, when you look at a Josh Jobe, a Jagan Armour Davis. Not saying that these were bad college players, they were not, but the pro potential could have them a bit better than what they were in college.
Stephen M. Smith, touchdownalabama.com. Get on over there. Check out Stephen and the rest of the staff there at Touchdown Alabama. And, of course, got to check out Stephen's show Monday, Wednesday, and Friday right here on YouTube, In My Own Words, 6 Central, Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. Anybody else out there that may not necessarily see their name selected this weekend may slide off the board. And as you well know, sometimes if you're not going to get drafted earlier, it's better to have that handful of offers and pick and choose where you may want to show up for training camp as an undrafted free agent. Anybody else we need to address?
That would be right in the line of Slade Bolden, because Slade, he could get drafted in the later rounds. However, if he's not, you got to look at the New England Patriots as the first team, because Bill Belichick was at Slade's pro day, walked away very pleased with what he saw. A lot of people put Slade in the mindset of a Julian Edelman or a Wes Welker. So Slade would be right there, not just with the Patriots, but I look at, the New York Jets for Slade. I look at the New York Giants, just due to Slade can bring you receiver. He can bring you special teams. He can bring you wildcat trick play quarterback. Slade can bring you a lot of stuff there. So if he's not drafted, he will definitely have suitors as an undrafted free agent. LeBron Ray in that same category. It hurt to see him not materialize in Alabama just due to all the injuries that he endured. But LeBron Ray was able to participate in the pro day, ran a 4.840, so there's still some value there for him. And he can be invited to a mini camp, get a training camp invite, and show his stuff there as an undrafted free agent. Also, Chris Owens, of whom was a versatile offensive lineman throughout his career with Alabama. Played center, played guard, played tackle. Now, he may not have all the physical traits you would like to see at that position, but because of his knowledge, his experience, his insight, he could get a fly or two, a tryout, a workout, to where he can go in, show his stuff and be picked up there as a free agent as well. So on the free agent boat there, I could see Chris Owens, LeBron Ray, Slade Bolden. Also, Daniel Wright will be the fourth name there, the safety who didn't play a whole lot at Alabama, but once again, the experience he has, the knowledge that he's gained, did run between 4.37 and 4.41 at his pro day. Major Wright being Daniel's older brother, so you got the genetics there where he's concerned. So a few of those guys will pick up those free agent flyers there if they are not selected here this week.
You see Stephen's information there on the banner. Of course, it's touchdownalabama.com, and it's right here. Your appointment is Monday, Wednesday, and Friday at 6 Central, In My Own Words. Stephen, it's always a heavy lift going. It's almost like National Signing Day when I call you for National Signing Day, breaking down all those 5 and 4 stars. The same thing with the NFL draft in Alabama. You've got a heavier lift than just about everybody else, but we appreciate you stopping by.
Hey, this is fun, man. This keeps me completely on toes here, but this is fun.
Absolutely.